This is Chimes Media and I'm James Williams. Okay, it's the aftermath of the EU elections, which in Britain were held on Thursday, May the 23rd. I think it was May the 23rd. Anyway, and obviously it's a win for the Brexit party and Nigel Farage. Now, I've just a few little comments because you can go on. This has been trotted over several times. I wasn't happy that Nigel Farage turned his back on UKIP. I thought there was a chance of a relationship there, and in fact, one of his comments was that, well, UKIP, if they hadn't stood, we the Brexit party would have got more seats. They took some of the votes away. Well, maybe so, but that's you're the new guys on the block. It was up to you to make approaches to UKIP and maybe form some kind of Brexit alliance and do it that way. But so you can't really blame UKIP. UKIP have a right to exist like any other party for that matter. So I don't think that was right. But it's kind of sad that Tommy Robinson wanted to get just about 40,000 votes. Well, he was held back by a lot of social media shutdown, and they didn't really give him any good coverage at all. I've heard it said that there was no way would the authorities have allowed him to win. And do you know something? For what I've seen of things these days, I wouldn't be surprised if they ditched a load of votes that were assigned towards Tommy. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not saying they did. I can't prove anything. It's just a hunch. It's quite within their scheme of things to do that kind of behaviour. They are completely ruthless. It's like killing children doesn't matter. And if you want an illustration of that, when he was at Oldham, the police, the Greater Manchester Police, escorted 200, maybe 300 Muslim men through the streets a mile and a half to where he was holding a political rally in a housing estate. And they took them there. They were shouting Allahu Akbar and all the rest of it, doing the finger, which is the Nazi salute for the Muslim extremists. And when they got there, you had a situation where there were kids, there were women, there were men. It was very friendly, a family event, and stones and bricks and even a pair of scissors were hurled down onto people's heads, with children there, with bikes. In and out of people's gardens. They're picking on one man there. There was a picture of them, 4 of them pounding him. There's men fighting, as the press was saying. What a bunch of dishonest tossers the press are. What a bunch of scandalous goons they are. But that's what happened. It was orchestrated that way. And no way were they going to let Tommy win, get in there. So, obviously he'd be disappointed. Why wouldn't he be? He was hoping he had a really good response from most people. And as I said, it's not for me to say, I can't say hand on heart, but I suspect, and it's well within their scope for them to fiddle things and lose things. Don't forget, the British vote ended on Thursday night and the results weren't announced till Sunday. That's plenty of time to do some work. Yeah. And it wouldn't be Mr. Bloggs, the policeman. It would be a special group doing that. And if you look at the way he's been treated, he's been persecuted and hounded and vilified at every juncture, exaggerating every feature and everything he's ever done. And I was kind of disappointed. One thing I was disappointed about Nigel Farage was, yeah, okay, I can understand playing the political card and distancing himself from anything like that. But let's face it, Nigel Farage, as well as Tommy Robinson, as well as UKIP, all of them have faced slagging off and rebukes from the press, calling them racist, calling them the usual nonsense terms. And Nigel Farage should not go in on that by saying the same thing about Tommy Robinson or UKIP. He should keep clear of it. He should be above that. And he also said comments about was it Sargon? Carl Benjamin, about some of his jokes, because he has some, non-PC jokes. Well, everyone makes jokes, including Nigel Farage, and he shouldn't have gone in on slagging off Carl Benjamin. He shouldn't have done that. So a little bit of a taint with Nigel Farage. I think he's a necessary force. He's got to get over his own personal prejudices about UKIP, about Carl Benjamin, about Gerard Batten, and Tommy Roberts. He's got to get over that, because there's a big block there who want to support him that way. And then we have the wonderful, well, not wonderful, I don't mean, Alistair Campbell, the Labour spin doctor, the one who helped to persuade Tony Blair and the likes of George Bush to go to war in Iraq and cost tens of thousands of lives and destroyed God knows how many people for so-called weapons of mass destruction that didn't exist. Well, he claimed he voted, Alistair Campbell voted for Liberal Democrats and then gets chucked out the Labour Party because it's against their rules. Well, yeah, interesting, isn't it? You must vote for the Labour Party, remember. You don't have the freedom of choice. No, you must vote. And don't say anything if you didn't. So, encouraging lying and dishonesty. But anyway, he hasn't given up. He was one of the ones spinning that, saying, oh, it was a win for Remain. Well, it wasn't a win for Remain. What a load of nonsense, fiddling the figures again. Yes, the most votes went to the Brexit Party. But then if you look at the YouGov breakdown of some of the polls they've done, and the argument is, well, the younger people coming through, most of them vote Remain. No, they don't actually. The figure was I saw from the YouGov poll, this is 18 to 25 year olds, said that 42% of that group were in favour of Remain, which means 58% weren't. So where are they? And if you go down that line, the 58% probably may well probably have voted for Leave. So that's the younger groups. There's no guarantee of that. So dear, I think we're cooked as far as a country's concerned. I don't know where we're going to go with things. I really don't. I think it's kind of despairing. And this guy, Michael Segalov, a Guardian journalist and also one of the hierarchy in the Labour Party, said that MP Kate Hoey, who was a prominent Leave campaigner during the referendum, Kate Hoey suggested that when it came to negotiations that Nigel Farage should be included in the team for negotiation. And this Michael Segalov, wants her expelled for expressing such an opinion. Now, she didn't even say she voted for any other party than Labour, but she suggested an opinion. Well, it was a legitimate opinion. As Nigel Farage won the EU election, he's got to have some kind of a voice, hasn't he? You would have thought so. And the Theresa May government and all the Tory government never used Nigel Farage's connections with Donald Trump to any effect. He's best mates with Donald Trump as an avenue into the United States. Perfect person to negotiate with Donald over trade agreements. And, why shouldn't he be involved in that? The people have spoken. They wanted the Brexit Party more than any other. So what Kate Hoey was suggesting was perfectly legitimate and reasonable. And this guy, Segalov, wants her expelled. Well, doesn't that expose his credentials as an authoritarian bigot? Really? And that's what the left have become, more than anything. They are bigoted more than anyone. They're the ones who first called other people racists and xenophobes. And yet they are the ones who force their opinion down your throat. You can't be a member of the Labour Party and vote for anyone else. I left the Labour Party many years ago because I was driven out by their authoritarian standards. And when they accuse you of something, it doesn't matter whether it's true or false, you are guilty in their eyes very often, in many of them. And, I wasn't going to live in that situation. I got involved as an activist. I was a volunteer activist, spent my own time and own effort campaigning for the Labour Party. And then I found out there's a load of bloody knife stabbers, backstabbers in it. And I left. And this is it. This is the fruition of it. You've got authoritarian types like this Segalov who speaks with a sort of nice voice and that. No, he's a nasty piece of work, but he's not the only one. Anyway, enough of me. Until next time, take care of yourself. Thanks for watching.